Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can paint with about anything, but if you choose the Winsor Newton Series 7, you have made a positive choice in your painting. They don't even sponsor us, and I'm going to give them that little plug out there because they are a high-quality painting type of a device, and I am your host. I'm not your co-host. Wow, I'm wearing a white shirt. Holy Christ, am I wearing a... This is a bad shirt decision. It looks like I'm creating some kind of aura underneath my neck for some reason. The camera just cannot handle this much white.
Holy shit, yeah.
Jesus. Should I take my shirt off, folks? No, I don't think that's a good idea either. We've been down that path on Painting with Menoth John. Nobody needs to do that. Welcome, everybody. It's your Sunday night extravaganza. I am the Podfather. I am Menoth John, and you are watching your Sunday Night Addiction. I am the president of Warmachine and Hordes, and you are all welcome to my administration. The only thing that you have to do is get on board with the Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/MenothJohn. Get on there, support the show, and become a crony. Cronyism gets you a seat in the cabinet. The seat in the cabinet gets you your own department, and you can help form policy for the coming millennia of Warmachine and Hordes. Of course, with me I have the co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer.
That's me.
Yay! That's this is a terrible...
Yay!
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I pull sorts of random stuff around.
Hey, man, I approve of that, whatever that was. Back to my spot. All right, there we go. Puppet time has been taken care of.
Smiley plays face with feet.
Aw.
Don't ask.
That's fun. It's very cute. And you know what we like?
Eyesight. It keeps me happy.
Hey, happy is what the Sunday Night Extravaganza is all about. I will never wear a white shirt on this show ever again. You
remind me of the one episode of the original Battlestar Galactica when they die and they all have the white outfits, and there was like you couldn't see the shadows in it, and all was so white. The light was refracting off of it.
Holy cow! So
I went old school there.
Yeah, that was a reference you had right there. And man, mistakes were made. If I really wanted to do something here, if I was like showing off a model, I could like hold a model in front of my shirt, and you could get a lot of detail on it. So
absolutely.
This is as far as I've gotten with Menoth Fred. I'm still working on Menoth Fred here. He's going to take a long time to get done because I just don't care. I don't really play Protectorate so much anymore, but he's a nice model, I suppose. Anyway,
he's very cool. I think I said originally he reminds me a little bit. He reminds me less of, when I got the model in my hand, of the one Relic Knights character that I thought he looked like.
Oh yeah,
he's a little chunkier. When you get them side by side ish, you're like, okay, they're a bit different. It's just that first pose. I was like, you probably should have changed the angle on that. It looked just like that other guy.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Beverage update, John. I've completed a margarita so far, and I am now on to the Kraken. That's it. That's if you buy their Kraken in Quebec, that's a part of Canada. It'd be the Kraken. So, what about you?
I've got a shot of Kraken and a Force Blow right now.
Ah, sweet. Force Blows, folks. In case you don't know what a Force Blow is, it is a couple fingers of Kraken and orange juice. and it is delightful. It is lots of vitamin C. It keeps you healthy and keeps you buzzing. So on behalf of the Force Blow and you, Mr. John Spencer, hey, Ron.
Ron.
You know, usually I sip that Kraken a little bit. Not tonight. I decided I was going to take that one out the front door. It's going to go top rope, if you will. And boom.
You need to look up this rum that we had last night. It's called Cannon Blast. It's Captain Morgan. It comes in a cannonball-shaped container.
Huh.
And it is very tasty. It has sort of fruity bit to it, but it's really good, and it's not like one you would want to mix with anything. It's real great shot rum.
Nice. You know,
it's tasty.
Nice little fruity bit to it would be nice. You know, I like the spice. I like the vanilla, but a little fruit would be nice in it too. Yeah,
I think if you mixed it, you wouldn't mix with anything more than maybe Sprite or maybe ginger ale, something like that. You wouldn't go too crazy with it. You'd lose it. I had a bit of it last night, and it was pretty good.
I was just stroking my beard. You couldn't see that, of course, because little view behind the camera that John cannot actually see me during the show because of how XSplit jealously grabs hold of the camera and will not let it go during the course of the show. So
that's right, Brushheads. I only see what you see.
That's right, and so he gets to see me a little bit delayed and with my lips not even remotely syncing up to my words.
It's like a kung fu movie.
It's like a kung fu movie with rum. So that should be a shirt right there. John, we have a few new members of the cabinet this week.
So I hear.
Yeah, let's quickly cover off on that. We have Jason Bush, who joined us as the Secretary of Jack Design. He did not ask for that position. I have appointed him to that position. Now, I know what you're saying here. With patronage comes cronyism, and with cronyism gets your department and all that stuff. And we talked about that. Patreon.com/Menoth. John, we like the kind that jingle, but prefer the kind that fold. And but he did such a good job coming up with rules for Matlock, the Geezer of Menoth. So that is the official Jack of the Senior Pro Tour. I had Florian Stitz. I contracted him to make me some artwork, and I'll put it up on the show next week or something or other. And it is a Menoth character heavy warjack who's a little past his prime, but to be honest, Jason, he's actually a mercenary jack. In case you didn't notice, he is a merc jack. All the menafixes have been removed from his carapaces and things like that. But he is going to be a character jack for mercs. He's speed 4, strength 12, mat 7, makes sense. Rat 5, defense 9, because he's slow. Arm 19, and he costs 10 points. And he has some special abilities, John.
Oh shit! Let's hear him.
He first off, he causes terror because he's a cranky old son of a bitch.
That's more of like, oh god, don't let him get near me again. He's going to tell a story. I need to run.
Exactly. He has a couple weapons. He has his first one is called Zimmer Frame, and it is on both the left and right hands. It's a two-handed weapon. It has POW 3, so it's a PS 15. And then he has his other weapon, which is an open fist, which is Shame on You. So he gives him the old open fist. And that's a POW 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's a ranged weapon. It's Shame on You, which is a range 8 POW 12 magical weapon. And here are his abilities. He is a special issue to Severius, because that's obvious.
Old man for the old man.
There you go. This model may be included in Severius' theme list. This also can be made bonded to Severius. Quote unquote, us old guys got to stick together. Another ability has Get Off My Lawn. During this model's activation, it may spend one focus to use Get Off My Lawn. All enemies within 2 inches of this model are pushed 4 inches directly away from this model. Additionally, this model gains Bulldoze for 1 turn.
That's super legit.
That's a one. Now, before we go any further with this is a pretty playable jack. There are advantages and disadvantages to this thing. He did a wonderful job crafting this thing, which is why he got the Department of Jack Design. Stone Deaf. The battery in Matlock's hearing aid went flat decades ago. So in order to be affected by the hymns of the Choir of Menoth, at least 2 choir members must be within range to affect Matlock. Preferably one
That's
on
fair.
each side.
That's fair.
"Quote unquote, damn choirman never did sing loud enough." Then he's got another ability known as Doddering Old Fool. If this model runs, roll a 1d6, and on a 4+, this model is knocked down. If this model charges, after the charge attack is resolved, roll 1d6, and on a 4+, this model is knocked down. You know, he's got a Zimmer frame. If he's trying to charge or run, it's not advisable. It just
Not
isn't.
really.
Nope. He's got help. His next ability is Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. In order for this model to shake a knockdown, you have to spend 1 additional focus per left or right system that is crippled. So, you know, if his left side or right side are crippled, he can't kind of help prop himself up. And so he has to spend that extra focus. This is all fair. This is legit.
I like that.
Yeah, this is creative and legit. Then the next one is, and there's only a couple more here. There is Help the Old Fool Up. A Vassal of Menoth, Vassal Mechanic, or Choir of Menoth model within 2 inches of this model can sack their action to remove knockdown.
That's cool.
You know, he's an old Jack. Now, all of this was written with Menoth in mind, obviously. And so,
yeah.
I mean, originally I had envisioned Matlock as being a Merc Jack because that's what I told him to do when he drew it. But, you know, you could play him in Protectorate. You know, if the key thing as anything here on Painting with Menoth, John, is have fun. So
absolutely
make it work. And then, okay, Zimmer frame. It's a 2-handed weapon. Double the POW of this weapon for attacks made with this weapon if both the left and right systems are functional. This weapon only suffers the effect of crippled left and right if both systems are crippled. I like that. I think that's cool. That's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
That's like a throwback to the old ability that some of the Jacks had that ignored being disabled after 3 systems went down. That was a Mark I thing. The Fire of Salvation had that ability. Relentless, I believe, is what it was called.
Yeah, I remember that. Jacks used to be completely disabled if they lost 3 systems. You're like,
there was a reason nobody took those. There was a reason nobody took those damn models back in the day.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, here come beasts. Derp-de-derp-de-der.
Yeah.
Then the other ability on Zimmer frame is I can do it myself. If both left and right systems are functional, this model gains steady. He's got a Zimmer frame. Come on. You're not knocking him over.
That's cool. It's got a lot of abilities that don't necessarily take effect immediately. And it's like if you knock out one of his arms, then he might fall down if he runs or charges. That's cool. I like that.
Exactly. This is creative and fun. And then on Shame on You, it has Admonisher. Whenever this model makes a melee or ranged attack against an enemy model that directly hits D3 within 5 inches, suffer the magical damage roll. And Admonisher, I believe, was a POW 12?
Yeah, 10 or 12, something like that.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeehaw.
Cool.
That is Matlock, the Geezer of Menoth. And for you, Mr. Jason Bush, this one's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
Welcome to the cabinet. And then the other one here we have from Dan Warner. He writes, Ubermensch Menoth John, starting off in a very good way here. First, I would like to apologize. I'm hardly ever able to catch your show live because of the weird time continuum that is living in Hawaii. Well, let's just leave it at the fact you get to live in Hawaii, so that's pretty okay. Good for you. And then, as a Buffalonian currently in diaspora, I think it means that he's like in exile. I know the headache that is moving to a new area and finding a gaming community. Also, quality wings, weck, and beer. Therefore, I would like to apply for the position of ambassador to the Pacific. If ever a brushhead should find themselves in Hawaii, I will provide them with quality food, beer, and lodging information. More importantly, someone to game with, or a link to the local Oahu gaming community. Shameless plug for on Facebook, Oahu, Warmachine, and Hordes. So there you go, folks. If you're vacationing in the greater Oahu area, boom, shakalaka. You have an ambassador there for Mr. Dan Warner. Thank you for all that you've done for the Democratic People's Republic of Warmachine and Hordes. Dan. P.S.
Well played.
P.S. If ever a Brushhead would like to do a beer exchange with someone from Hawaii and sample some of their Hawaiian microbrews, let him know, and he will send you some Sweet Island beer. And I imagine, folks, on the Facebooks, you could find Mr. Dan Warner in that Oahu gaming community, otherwise known as Oahu Warmachine and Hordes. And then also PPS, I will be traveling to Warmachine weekend. Will there be a Brushhead get-together? There is every reason to believe that there will be a Brushhead get-together of some variety. I have not yet planned this out, and I need to. Yes.
You need to mention the live Painting with Mouth John.
Thank you for that segue, co-host with the host. On Saturday night at 8 o'clock in the gaming lounge, we will be doing a live version of Painting with Menoth John. I think we should call that the get-together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be adequate. And
maybe start a half an hour beforehand so we can talk to some of the Brushheads before we get started, and then chat with them afterwards.
Absolutely. So plan on that, Brushheads. If you're coming to Warmachine weekend, the official Brushhead get-together will be at the 8 o'clock live Painting with Menoth John. We are going to record it, but it will not be a live stream. It will strictly just be a recording, and then we'll put it out on the YouTubes later on. And
streaming from a con kind of
no bueno on the internets.
No bueno indeed.
So we are going to do that, and so John will be there with me. We'll have the whole. I'm going to point in the right direction this time. John will be with me, and we are going to be doing. Our topic is going to be painting basics. I have not done like a special video or anything like that where I've just talked about the basics of painting. I am not qualified to do anything related to high-level painting instruction. If you are interested in that, Chris Suri and Tadgo are all going to be there. Tadgo is going to be doing a lot of stuff with airbrushing. I highly recommend you keep your eyes on the Warmachine and Hordes website, as Andy Welton, Major Tusk, is organizing all of the activities for the Hobby Lounge. And those guys have gracefully and gratefully given their time, and I've got a lot of stuff going on during Warmachine weekend, but I thought, Andy had asked me a long time ago if I could contribute something, so I thought, let's do a show, and Absolutely. we'll have the cameras. We're gonna have we'll have seating. It's not a huge thing, but you know what? We're not a huge show, so people can come up to Painting with Menoth John. We'll have the people's cracking. There'll be some cracking for us. There'll be some cracking for the people. And we'll turn it into a party. It's going to be a great time. I don't know when Clusterfuckapalooza is going to happen or if it's going to happen. I have not even gotten contacted related to it. So,
yeah, I think that might be a 1.5 times thing where it only happened 1.5 times because only half the podcast got their podcasts out the second time.
I don't care. We got ours out. That's all that mattered.
Yep.
And we'll turn the live show into our own little Clusterfuckapalooza. So, maybe we can get Zosha to show up and lick a brush or something, and it'll be super legit and super sweet. So, thanks a lot, Dan Warner. Super happy that you're a member of the cabinet. And then we have a couple official decrees that we want to put out here. So, I'm not ready to release another errata. We can't do that all the time, folks. I'm a benevolent and understanding president, but I can't go nuts.
The WTC is coming up right around the corner. We don't want to do that to them again.
And they have been boo-ramped once already, and they probably are still not pooping straight. So we're going to let their sphincters reclose to its normal position before we drive another. We'll wait until just before the next WTC to release the next one. That'll be perfect.
There you go.
That'll be perfect.
It's like the perfect time every year.
I think it's the most wonderful time of the year. All right, so here's our new official decree. For those of you playing along at home, remember that salt is the new condiment. All tomatoes will be served with salt and pepper. Diz was the hot one. Idiocracy is the official documentary from the future of President for Life Minoth John. And the two new decrees are that the official Cheesecake 90s starlet is Markie Post. So for those of you who remember who Markie Post was, she was on Night Court, and she's a beautiful lass. And so there you have it, the official Cheesecake 90s starlet. She had large hair. And
she does.
And
very large hair.
And she was a beautiful lass. So Markie Post is the official starlet. And then the official national animal of Warmachine and Hordes will be the quokka, Quokka, an unusually friendly Australian animal that I understand enjoys getting selfies taken with it. So, very excited about the quokka joining us. Perhaps we will need to have a seal made that has the quokka on it. And so remember, folks, if you're out there hunting and you're a brushhead, do not kill the quokka.
Exactly. They're super cute. It's hard to kill cute animals.
I know. But, people killed Cecil the lion, or whatever his name was, the one that the asshat from Minnesota blew away. The dentist.
I agree that was horrible, but I'm not going to say a lion's cute. Let's be honest. That's an animal that can kill the crap out of you if it tries.
I saw a picture of a lion jumping 30 feet in the air above a giraffe. It might have been photoshopped. It was amazing.
I would poop myself just a little bit.
Well, their point was that if that was actually something that could happen, that humans would never have gotten out of Africa because all the humans would have had heart attacks.
Yeah. Fuck that. Remember my first rule of pet ownership. Don't have a pet you cannot take in a fight.
Boom. Shakalak.
Lions, stuff like that. Yeah, no. I have a friend from high school who actually, hangs out with tigers, and I'm like, you are fucking crazy.
Hangs out with what I like at bars?
Oh, my God.
Anyway. Okay, so there you have it. We talked about... We have a winner, folks. God,
a winner, indeed.
The segment's running long, but we don't have very many flippity bloops, so it's okay if it does.
That's true.
Yep. So we ran a contest for about 40 years, and
give or take, yeah.
It was called Power Couple Deathmatch, and in it we tediously put together a March Madness. In fact, we may have come up with this concept during March Madness, if I'm not mistaken, and now it's
I don't even remember.
Now it's a different school year somehow. And we have a winner. We have, with 16 points, before you get all cocky, winner, and say about how awesome you are, you still broke less than half the points.
Well,
I know.
Let's be honest. That Haley 2 and Gatsby 2 losing probably put a bullet in a lot of brackets.
The fact that Rich and I were the two people playing probably put a bullet in most people's brackets. At least in the first round. Now, so the winner was Dan White. Yes, Dan White. Dan, you already knew you won somehow. Don't even understand.
I guess he kept track of it. That's awesome.
I don't know how he kept track of everyone else's though. But he did win with 16 points. And so you will have the opportunity to select $130 worth of models at discount. Well, yeah. We're going to figure out how to do this. Dan, I will contact you via email, and we can discuss how it is we're going to get you your $130 worth of value. I'll probably write you tomorrow. How does that sound? Hopefully you're listening. And I do also want to recognize the lowest number of points in the entire thing, and that is Will Burke. Will Burke, you got 2 points.
Holy crap.
He successfully picked Katie and Jeremy Shea, and he successfully picked Hollywood and the end of the movie Guardians of the Galaxy in the first round, and that was the last thing he got right.
Man, I like that. I watched that yesterday.
That's a wonderful movie.
Sorry.
It's a wonderful movie. So I'm actually going to award Will Burke a wooden spoon. And
Excellent.
So Will, I'm gonna contact you via email and get your shipping information so that I can go on Amazon and send you a wooden spoon. It'll be the crappiest wooden spoon I can find, and we'll send it to you. And then Dan will be contacting you via email, and maybe next show we'll discuss another contest because we are over the Patreon support level where I need to have contests. So we're going to have contests. So there you go.
Apparently, Dan didn't know he was going to win. He was just wondering if we're going to announce the winner.
Oh, well. Dan, you won.
You won. I just let him know on Facebook. He was messaging me.
Yay. So he won, and we'll be in touch, Dan.
Absolutely. I told him to keep an eye out for your email.
Absolutely. I'm going to do a real quick list I like, and then we'll just do it real quick. And then you have a big announcement as far as who you're going to be playing. I'm going to turn my light off here. There we go. Who you're going to be playing at Warmachine Weekend.
Absolutely.
So here's the list I like. I call it long dick style. This is it's a Tyrone list, and so here you see Tyrone, the Sword of Truth, and he has with him Silas Wishnailer, or Silas Wish You Were Here, depending upon how you would pronounce it.
Welsh Nylons.
There, I like that one a lot. We have. Hang on, I got to get something to point with because my finger's causing auto camera to go flip its lid. Okay, we have Imperatus, who is a broken ass piece of Jack at 12 points. Let me tell you what, he's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazeballs.
Houseguard Thane. We have 2 Mage Hunter Assassins. We have 2 Arcanists. We have the
2 Arcanists. That's a bold move.
Oh yeah,
only one Jack.
No. You don't see the second Jack yet. I haven't hit the scroll button.
Oh shit!
2 Arcanists.
Spoiler.
We have the House Shield Artificer. We have so the Artificer's legit.
I dig him, especially with that spell Storm Rager on him.
He's pretty cool with the Storm Rager on him. We have a full house of Houseguard Halberdiers, and then we have the Dawnguard Sentinels prontoing the Banshee. So this is where it gets really crazy. So let me talk just a couple features of the list. First off, Tyrone has Storm Rager. Storm Rager is absolutely legit on Mage Hunter Assassins. Mat 9, POW 11 Weapon Masters with decap are probably not a thing that should be in the game, but there they are.
They get +2 armor, which with some of those things that kill them exactly suddenly aren't killing them, and that's pretty good.
It is good. We have the House Shield Artificer. This is an interesting list because you'd think, wow, I got to get stuff upfield all right now and all that shit. Well, what I did with this list that was very effective was I had the Mage Hunter Assassins hanging around with Tyrone back in the backfield, slowly moving up the field with the House Shield Artificer in their back pocket. So in the game that I played, I got Tyrone on a hill with Blade Shield and the House Shield Artificer and Elevation. And Defense 21 Tyrone is a Tyrone that is good stuff.
Yeah, he's not going to be hit by much.
No, he gets up into the range of, well, I guess I'm just not going to shoot at you anymore.
Well, I guess my Earthbreaker needs a 16.
Yeah, yes. So we got that going. It's a really fun list. What I did, I was playing 2 boobs, whatever that one is called, Outflank, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
And I put the Houseguard Halberdiers on one side, and then I had the Sentinels and the majority of my force coming up into the other zone. And really, I just kind of used the Sentinels, the Halberdiers, and the Houseguard dude, the solo, the Thane, to kind of hold off that one zone while I just sat and cleared the other zone out. And I sent in Imperatus with boosted to hits is not a thing that should exist either, but it's amazing. And so he just clears out all kinds of crap. And I've got a new version of this list that I'm going to try on Monday. And if the people in Kenosha would be watching, which they're not, which they should be, it's called I'm bringing back the sexy with this list. It's called Long Dick Armory. And what it has in it is I trade out the unit of halberdiers for two heavy rifle teams, a full boat of infiltrators and Eris 3, and then Fane Knight Scareth Ison.
Oh, the Pain Knight. The Pain Knight is so legit.
Yep. Because I think...
And then you put Storm Rager on him, and then he's super legit. Actually, Eris is pretty good with Storm Rager, too.
Yes, she is. So I really like this list a lot. I think this is going to be super fun. It's ultra fast. It's stealthy.
I just have to ask one question.
Yeah.
One question. You know what it's going to be.
Yeah, the
Why are the heavy rifle teams over Ghost Snipers?
Okay, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to take advantage of the armory, and Ghost Snipers are 3 points, are they not?
2.
They're 2?
Yeah.
Because I've never played them, and I have 2 of them painted. And
they're the coolest model that no one ever plays.
Yeah. So I'm going to use... I may trade them out, John, and we'll see. We'll see if Long Dick goes somewhere else, but... I think that
I usually only see them with Ossian, with Armory. You know, is the time I usually see them where you're like, okay, that one turn they're really crazy legit.
Yep.
And they're actually pretty good against trolls in general, but you know.
Yep. So we're gonna give it a try, and we'll see how it goes. But that's the list I'm gonna play on Monday is Long Dick Armory, and see how that goes. So that's a list I like.
So, speaking of Storm Rager, one of the casters I'm currently playing for the faction I'm going to play at Warmachine Weekend has Storm Rager.
Okay, that means you're playing Circle.
I am playing Circle.
I
asked for a lot of people at the local store to give me votes and all. I wasn't really necessarily feeling anything between all my factions, so most of them voted Circle. So I broke them out, and I decided I was going to play some Grail, because I like Grail. Grail's cool. I've already had one game under the belt, and... it was pretty good. He kicked the crap out of Sorcha 1. And Arky Dan's telling me, no, John, no. Look, having a caster with inherent stealth has immense advantages. Immense advantages.
Yep.
So you know Earthbreaker Assassination? Yeah, it doesn't work. At all.
Nope.
As long as I stand away from everyone. Even if I don't stand away from everyone, he can't kill me because he can't shoot me even if I'm knocked down. The Ocean's 13 style Sorcha, freeze you, shoot you to death? Doesn't work.
Nope.
Stealth on a caster is amazing. Stealth on an Armor 16 caster is really good. And if you put Storm Rager and stuff for Armor 18 base, assuming you don't even have a Winter Argus, that's crazy, crazy. And Winter Argus I could take. I like those things. So I'm trying him out. He's got a lot of troops. Still filling out the list for him. And currently my other list is Chromac 1. He was sort of where I left off with Circle, so if we're going to jump in with him again. Had a couple games. Been pretty good so far. He is super fun. He's got so much he can do, and I still have yet to cast Bestial. Not even once.
There you go. That's playing him different
Probably
style.
should, but, you know, hasn't happened yet. So that's what I'm working on, Circle. That's been fun so far. I can do a lot of cool things. I've done some really, really silly things. Really silly. I've even played the Kaya 1, 5 Argus, 2 Gorax, and Old Goat. Brenos list, which was interesting, but didn't come out too well against the Raven theme list. Especially when my opponent's rolling 9s like it's 50% of the time. I'm
like it's their job.
God. It was. It was like it was his job. He's like, 9. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. When you start your first turn and half your druids are gone before you've gone, you're like, that's no good.
So are you going to plan on... what? Are you going to be just bringing Circle with you to there, John, or are you going to be bringing your mercs as well?
I'm probably not bringing my mercs. That was sort of the what I thought of when I was thinking about changing, is that I didn't want to actually carry the mercs. That sounds horrible, but it's a heck of a con. And you're talking a heavy shoulder bag plus a backpack with 2 GW figure cases in it, and then I've got to have a way to transport the colossals too.
Yeah,
1 or 2.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of stuff. And I figured to go with an army that's a little tighter. It may still change, but right now I'm looking at bringing Circle. I'm actually going to start getting some stuff together, start painting them.
I'm probably, the way things are looking, I'm going to bring my trolls, and I'm probably going to bring Rhett. I'm having so much fun with Tyrone that I don't necessarily want to play Tyrone in the LCQ or anything like that, but I'm thinking that I might bring out Long Dick Style for the Old Man tournament, just because it's just bananas fun. So
yeah, it is fun. And I might actually bring Cephalix too, because the bag with them is really, really light, because it's like barely a tray worth of stuff, and then like only one more light figure case that'll fit in my my backpack. I've got the old GW backpack that holds 2 of their figure cases. If you guys can ever find that, if you go to a store, they just happen to have it around, oh my God, pick that up. It is one of the best pieces of kit you can ever get.
Cool.
Because it's literally just a backpack. It holds 2 figure cases of theirs, and they hold a ton of infantry. It is great.
Nice. So, John, should we get on topic for our discussion here this evening?
Absolutely.
All right. So on we've gotten a little bit out of the habit of when we transition from one segment to another of having a little beverage here. So on behalf of the first segment, on to the second segment. Hey, Ron. We got to do a puppet show again one of these times.
Ooh.
Okay,
I think I had more than a couple fingers in there.
Good shit, man. All right, yeah. So let's go over here to the painting cam, and we're gonna talk a little bit, because I didn't have enough white on my shirt. I thought I would bring out my white handy palette, and we're gonna talk about this particular tool right here. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a gut, and that's mostly from rum and other things, but we're gonna try not to focus on that too much. We're gonna move the camera away from my stomach, and we're going to come over here, and this is a wet palette. So you're probably saying to yourself, John, what is a wet palette? And why would I want one of these things? Well, this is a store-bought wet palette, and for those of you who have watched the Bob Ross painting show, the Joy of Painting, you'll always hear Bob talk about it's a wet-on-wet technique. So what does that mean? In his case, what he's doing is he's prepared his canvas with a paint that stays wet, and then he can put other paints on top of it that are also wet, and that allows for blending. And that is a similar concept to what you get from a wet palette. So what is a wet palette? A wet palette is not something that had cargo on it that you left in the rain. That is indeed a wet palette, but it's not what we're talking about here tonight. So what is a wet palette? A wet palette is a piece of plastic, and you saw this particular one has a clamshell kind of a design. And the reason it has a clamshell is so that it can stay wet, and so that it doesn't dry out too fast. It's essentially a plastic tray with a sponge in it. That's all there is to it. It's not magic. It's just a sponge, and then you dampen the sponge, and you don't want it too wet. You don't want it to be like sloppy. You'll notice like I'm not pouring water out of it. It's just damp, okay? Sometimes it can get you need to add a little bit more water to it, but it's that sponge, and then what you do is, and they'll sell you, companies are going to sell you whatever they can sell you. And, they'll sell you this pack of acrylic paper, 30 sheets, that I bought this one time when I was kind of foolish. But they have these really complicated instructions. Put them in the microwave on high for 10 minutes and let the paper soak for 15 minutes and all this crap. Really, all you really need is this. Genuine Reynolds parchment paper. No stick. And I credit Tadgo for a lot of the knowledge that I'm about to break loose on you. I'm going to break open some knowledge eggs here, folks. But most of them came from Michigan, just so you know, with the Tadgo. And so what you do here, and the way I do it is I have one of those Fiskars cutting things that a lot of the scrapbookers use. It's got the flat plate, and then you got the kind of the X-Acto knife thing you pull across it so that you can make nice, neat paper. And so the reason I like that is because I'm a little anal retentive, and if it was like overly like shitty looking, I'd have a problem with it mentally. So I don't do that. And then what I do is I cut these pieces from that parchment paper, and then I place them in my drawer, and then I've always got one when I need one. So here you have it. Now look at this. This is nothing. This is like 1.5 cents, okay? And what you do is you put, it's not even 1.5 cents. I put it down on here and I massage it. Okay? This is the very This is the sensual part of painting with Menoth John today. I'm going to massage my parchment paper. So what am I doing here? I'm getting some of that water from the sponge onto the paper itself. And then I'll pick it up and I'll flip it over, because one-sided wet paper is not good for anybody. It really isn't, John.
Nope.
You want both sides wet, and I'm kind of getting it in there, and sometimes you gotta be a little aggressive with it and show it who's boss.
Give it the business, so to speak.
You give it the business. You got to give it the business, and that's copyright painting with Menoth John, giving things the business. And
I think that ref copyrighted it first.
Yeah, you gotta give them the business. So, and I'm seeing here right now, by the way that the paper's not necessarily sticking terribly well to the sponge. What I don't know if you can see this, but you can see there's some darker spots, and then there's some lighter spots. And those darker spots are spots that have not kind of found their home with the sponge yet. They're not really in intimate contact yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of extra water here, and I've got some fresh water in my painting glass over here. I'm just going to give it a little spritz. And I use, when you got kids, you got about 40 million of these little syringes from medicine. And I'm just going to kind of get it in there, and going to kind of force it off to the side. And that will be probably enough to get it to adhere very nicely onto the sponge. And what is that going to do for us? The thing that's going to do for us is that is going to provide the paint that you're going to put on the parchment paper with this reservoir of water directly underneath it. And it's not going to take up a lot of water, but it's going to keep the paint wet. And it's going to also provide just enough dilution that you're going to, it's going to take the paint from your pot and make it just the right consistency to put on the model so that it's not gloopy and thick. Unless you're using craft paint, and there's no way to fix that. Don't use craft paint ever. See if
I know it's cheap, but good Lord.
You know what? So's that 2-bit hooker down the street. You don't want any of that, let me tell you what.
No.
So you get your disease. You won't get AIDS from cheap paint, but you won't get a good looking model either.
Jesus Christ.
So, all right. Now you'll notice I took a little paper towel here, and I wiped the excess. I don't want that excess water on the parchment paper, because that's like cancer, and we don't want cancer on the paper. And so we've invoked AIDS and cancer so far in this segment.
Indeed.
All right, so this is serious business. And so we've got our paper. This is now ready to work with. Okay? Absolutely. I do have issues with metallics. I do not use yes, Tadgo, that's a very good point. I do not use my wet palette with metallics either. If I'm dry brushing them especially. If you're dry brushing with metallics, do not use your wet palette. Use a piece of paper towel and take it right out of the pot. I will use a wet palette a little bit with metallics, but only just a little bit. If I have like a small amount of metallics to do, because the dilution you will get will cause the metallics to separate quite quickly, and you don't want that, because it won't look right on your model. It'll the like on a silver, the blacks will separate from the metallic bits, and then it's no good. It's fakakta. It's no good for anybody. So now, how do you use this? Okay, so the use of a wet palette is one of the driving reasons why I've moved to using dropper bottles for all my painting. Before I started using the wet palette, I was content to. I'm going to see if I can't get this thing to stop autofocusing. So please bear with me here for a second. I'm going to try and get the autofocus to stop. Boom. Okay, so this should be good. Yes. Okay, I think it stopped No, it's still autofocusing. Whatever, I don't care. All right, so it's so what do you use it for? The nice thing about it that most people, when they're beginning painters, struggle with is that they will take paint directly out of the pot, and it'll be over thick, and it will end up causing issues from a standpoint of kind of giving you that weird blotchy effect that you get. It dries too fast, and it doesn't look good on the model. With this, you can put your paint on there, and you can draw it out a little bit so that it actually mixes with a little bit of the water from the paint from the palette itself. I have right here, I have a model from the Guild Ball range, and I'm going to paint as we do. You always paint from the inside out. So I'm going to paint his skin first. So I'm going to take I've got here we go. I've got a little Midland flesh here from P3 that I've transferred into a dropper bottle, and I've talked about that on the show. These are Reaper dropper bottles that I buy, and then I put a 1/4 inch stainless steel ball in them, so you can hear it shaking, and that helps keep them all nice and shook up. And then what I'll do is I'll take the cap off, and I just put a little drop on there. It's a small model. I don't need a lot of paint. So what does that do? You know, on your P3 droppers, they always end up with that ring around the top of it, and it dries out on the inside. P3 does great. Their stuff doesn't dry out very fast at all, but this will keep your paints even nicer longer. And I did an experiment with Citadel. This is Abaddon Black, and that stuff is thick like molasses. And so I added some water to it, and I think I'm going to regret it, but we'll find out. But we'll experiment with that another day. So here we have that. I'm going to do the face here. Now this is a small model, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm going to actually use a Winsor Newton on this one.
Excuse me.
For the skin, I'm going to use a Winsor Newton Series 7 0. And I'm going to get it a little... I just put a... Oops, not a 0. I don't want that one. I want this one over here. Where is it? What did I do with it? Here it is. It's a 1. I don't want a 0. I want a 1. And a mistake that a lot of beginning painters will make is that they will use a smaller brush than what they actually need. And so a 1 is usually a really good detail, as long as you're buying brushes of a quality that will make a nice point. In Winsor Newtons, you're paying all that money so that it holds a point. So now I'm going to take here, and you'll notice what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little bit of the paint from the center of the dot, and I'm going to paint on the parchment a little bit. And that is where you're going to pick up that moisture. And now I'm going to probably talk a little bit off of mic a little bit, and that's going to be annoying as shit, but I'm going to do the best I can. But I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm just going to start touching up the skin. Now, is this going to cover... This is a black painted primed model with some white zenithal highlighting. Is this going to cover this guy's skin in one coat? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nor should you expect it to. If you're able to cover something like that in one coat, you are probably utilizing too thick of a paint. You need it to be a little bit thinner, because what that does for you is that it allows it to blend out, and you don't hide the detail that way. It just kind of flows in there, and you can see I'm just kind of coming in here, and I'm trying to stay off of this guy's mustache as much as I can. It's very, very gentlemanly. Like these are the engineers from Guild Ball. So he is this guy's a mustachioed fellow, and he is their leader. And I'm trying to do the best I can to stay off of his magnificent mustachio and beard. And come across here. And I'll try to hold this a little bit closer than to the camera. Get his ears really good, get the back of his ears. And get his neck. And that's what I do. That's how you use a wet palette to do this kind of a deal. And it's quick, and it provides that instant dilution that is so tricky. It handles it all automatically. You don't even have to think about it. It just happens. And you can when you're painting like this, you can think about other things. You can think about where you're gonna put that happy little tree. And the other thing that's nice is that, at least for a little while, this paint will be perfectly usable on the model again. Now, go ahead.
That's the biggest thing about it, I think, because I use a regular palette for my painting, and my paints work fine. I've gotten to the point where I kind of know how much water to put in a paint, but it dries up pretty quick because it's dry.
Exactly.
That's what it's supposed to do.
So, go ahead, John.
that keeps it going a little longer. I've seen some people who take theirs home, and it's still good when they get home from their local hobby shop.
See, I must be putting too much water in my wet palette then, because what I find is that if I try to hold it for an extended period of time, that I do get some dilution, more dilution out of it than what I want, and it becomes somewhat unpredictable as far as how it's going to paint. But the thing you're going to notice is I'm not going back to the water very much. I'm not going back to refill or to clean up my brush. Why? Because the paint's not drying in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's diluted, and it's really, really easy to work with. And flesh tones can be very challenging to work with, and this type of a technique makes it very easy to work with.
Flesh tones are so tough that not Brushhead Dave does not like painting models without a helmet on.
Yeah, and as you can see on this one, the skin tone, it just flows on. It just flows. And so in this guy here, I think he's got bare hands. So I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint his hands while we're at it. And normally I would stick with painting on one model at a time, or if I was doing unit, maybe I would do one color and then come back and do others and stuff like that. But in this case, I probably even put a little bit too much of a drop on the palette on this one. I just don't want to waste all that paint. So we're going to come back here and catch this one. And then what I'll do is after I get this first coat done, while it dries a little bit, I'm going to put him back down, and I'm going to take a look at here and see if there's anything else I want to do with him. And I'm just going to kind of just very briefly touch up his underneath his mustache and stuff like that. And then I really like how he's turning out. And then here we have a custom model that Brushhead John Snodgrass sent me. And this is Bob Ross as a troll. So I am going to paint him, and usually I don't do normal skin tones on trolls, but this is Bob. Bob is clearly going to have his natural skin tone. So we're gonna go ahead and paint his skin tones while I'm at it.
Honestly, painting the same color, like if you're painting a bunch of humanish models, painting the flesh on all of them at once is a good way to sort of get ahead.
Indeed, John.
You're going to get a bunch there because it's honestly you want to take your time with solos and such. But if you paint all the flesh, or like if you've got like maybe 3 colors and that are going to be through all the models, and they're more of the deeper colors, if you will, the ones that you're going to put on first. If you paint those all at once, you're going to get a little better time investment out of it, if you will.
Yep, and
waste less paint too.
and you may end up with a more consistent skin color. One of the things that the wet palette does offer you as an ability is the ability to blend colors very nicely and very easily. Let's say that there isn't a stock color for exactly what you want to do, or if you're trying to do a highlight color, a wet palette can allow you to say, okay, I'm going to take that base color and I'll put a little drop of gray or a darker green or something maybe you wanted to add to it, and you just add a little drop of that, and you just come over to your palette, and you can mix yourself a wide variety of colors. And the awesome thing about it is that once you're done with this, you throw it away. It's a piece of parchment paper.
And like we were saying earlier, since it stays fresh longer, if you will, if you make a mistake, you need to come back over, you've still got that mixed color there. You don't have to go and remix it and pray that it matches.
Fact. Absolute fact. So I'm just going to kind of quickly diddle right through here and get this guy's skin tone here before we move on. But you can see how quick and easy it is. Mm-hmm. It's just a joy to paint with the wet palette because it keeps it. And now, Tadgo is the one that got me onto this. He is the one that really shamed me and going, Menoth John, come on, what's going on here? Why are you painting out of the pot? You've got new painters watching the show. Send them down the right path. And he could not have possibly been more right. Yeah. And really appreciate the kick in the butt, Tadgo, to kind of take a look at this. I'll never go back. I really won't. This is as far as I'm concerned, this is the way to paint.
I only grab little dabs out of a bottle once in a while when I'm like really, really in a hurry to do something. And I really try not to.
Yep. I'm almost done. I've almost got the skin tone on this. These little critters are super fun to paint.
And when you go to a palette or a wet palette, you'll realize the wonder that is dropper bottles.
Oh.
Holy moly.
Dropper
They're
bottles.
so much easier to work with. I mean, except with washes. Washes actually like the regular bottles because I don't like dripping it out onto my palette because I end up using too much wash then.
Yep.
You can go out of the bottle with those little bare. You gotta be a little careful, and sometimes you need to mix it or something, so then you'll have to. But it's on most of the paints, the dropper bottle is so good.
Yep. I will not transfer my GW washes that I use into dropper bottles. I don't see a point.
I'm actually surprised you did Abaddon Black. I just buy Vallejo Black.
Couldn't find it at my LGS on Friday when I looked. I'm
a problem.
I'm done with Abaddon Black. I will not buy it again.
It's not bad, but I've just been buying like white and black are the first things I went directly to Vallejo for, and like I just want the dropper bottle. It's so much easier.
Yep. I will most certainly order some Vallejo Black from somebody. I'll probably have my LGS order it for me. I like to buy at least some stuff there. I mean, folks, you know that Discount Games Incorporated is a big supporter of the show, but do support your local game store. They're the ones that give you the place to play, and without them, we really wouldn't have the community that we have. So, almost finished up here on this guy. I do hope that that Mr. Snodgrass is enjoying watching his model get painted here. That this is the vision that he had for it. If he doesn't, please send me a message, John, and we can do this in a different color and stuff like that. But there you go.
He's in the chat room. He'll let you know.
Okay. Oh, he says go crazy, so I'm appreciative of that. So
don't mind if I do.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's really the big deal about the wet palette. Now, like I talked about, here's if you wanted to, for some reason, here's Bloodstone. This is a kind of a reddish brown. I'll demonstrate that blending technique. So I'm going to take a little bit of that there, and I'm going to take just a little bit of I don't know, bootstrap. That doesn't get. We'll just demonstrate here with the flesh. So I'll take a little bit of this, and I'll just paint it onto the wet palette. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the flesh color here, and I'm probably going to screw up that stuff up there, and that's fine. Who cares? This is just this is your palette. This is for you to mess it up. This is your world. You put a little happy little tree right here in the wet palette. And then you've got this interesting new color that isn't the bloodstone, and it's not the flesh anymore. And maybe that is a flesh color of a different people that you want to represent. And there you got it. And it's right there for you. And
little things like that make a difference in a model. Like, little flesh tone difference in models makes a unit stand out.
Absolutely. So that is what a wet palette is. That's how you make. Now, the one thing we didn't talk about is how easy it is to make one at home if you want to. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit briefly about that. I'm going to put my my store-bought one over here to the side. And you're going to say, John, that's just a PP blister that came with a model. That could have been Tyrone's if you wanted to. So if you wanted to make a very special wet palette, long dick style, then what you would do is you could take this, and this is if you'll notice here, this is just a tray, isn't it? Okay? Then what you do is you take and you cut this off here, and then you've got these very expensive sponges that they pack in each and every model. And you could lay this down here, get it nice and wet, put a little piece of parchment paper, boom, shakalaka. That's a wet palette. Let me tell you, you know what the difference between this and a Privateer Press wet palette is? About $10. And when they sell you this particular wet palette, they give you a model for free. Now, it's expensive. True. It's expensive. You can pay $25 for this wet palette, but you get that model for free, so it's a good value.
That being said, their wet palettes are pretty good. They're prepackaged ones.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't picking on there, but it's
but there are a lot of younger gamers, a lot of gamers who are don't have the disposable income, and Saving a little bit is saving a little bit.
He damn Skippy saving a little bit is a saving a little bit. And that rum right there tasted pretty good too. So
I've upgraded to Coney Island hard root beer.
Nice. I think that is definitely an upgrade.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters from Idiocracy is Upgrade. For a double, the two D's are for a double dose of his pimpin'. Love that movie. So, trying to decide where I want to go with my. I mean, okay, so this is my Guild Ball team. So far, the one that I've painted, this is Velocity, and she is, she's a construct. So she's made out of wood. So she's done. I mean, wood, whatever. These guys here are humans, and what they have is they have a bib that they wear, and then they've got they've got cloth and leather and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some olive greens on this one, maybe the Trader Green as a base color, and then
I do like me some Trader Green,
and then probably they're like gear not imprints, but kind of like imprints in it. And I was thinking about doing those in brass, but that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me now that I think about it, because it's cloth. It's like a leather material. It'd have to be embossed. It wouldn't be like metal was actually on it, but like a brass or a copper color would look sensational on there.
That's your model. Whatever you want is right.
In my universe, metal is very flexible.
Well, I've seen, I saw a MythBusters episode where they had like weave that was made out of very finely spun metal.
Well,
they're engineers; they can do that shit.
Fuck yeah! All right, so here we go. So we're gonna demonstrate this technique one more little time here, and we're gonna get out our Trader Green, which I think is a wonderful olive color, and we're gonna put a little bit of water on there, and we're gonna give a little love to the palette. Boom, shakalaka. It's always important to add the boom shakalaka. And we're going to put that back on the tray. And we'll start off with this clown. I can't remember what his name is. Doesn't matter. It's not important. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to liberally apply that. But you'll notice now that because the paint is diluted by the wet palette, that I can go very quickly with it. And give it a nice thin coat. And that thin coat is going to allow me to pick up that zenithal highlighting that I did on these models, so that it gives you that natural shading right off the get-go. Now, it gets a little tricky up in here because I'm trying to figure out where the hell this damn bib actually ends. There it goes. Okay. I got old eyes, John. I do. At some point, this is going to be John with a magnifier painting with Menoth John.
You're talking to Mr. Crazy Eyes.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I hear you, man. I may have gone a little crazy with the highlighting on this one because there's almost no black left. But what it's supposed to do... Go ahead, John.
It does a little bit excessive. A little maybe a touch too much.
I did. I went a little nuts on these ones. I did a better job when I was working on the kilt lifter in Tyrone. I made a mistake of using the Privateer Press spray-on primer for the zenithal highlighting, and what I should have been doing was loading up my airbrush with white airbrush paint, and that would have been a much more attractive and would have worked out a lot better, because the problem that I have here is this white primer has the droplet size is kind of large.
Gotcha.
And it didn't turn out terribly well.
Well, if Brushheads want to do something similar, the two alternates I've heard are prime it straight white, and then take a wash of your choice, something close to what you'll be using, and just wash the entire model. Brings out all the details, so you're not trying to figure out where it is. Does really well. Or on the opposite end, you do black, and then you just dry brush the whole thing gray to begin with, and it shows you where the higher raised areas are. It gives you a little better look at the detail.
And that's what this is supposed to do for you. But
yeah,
like
does the same sort of thing.
I got a little crazy with it, but it's fine. It's turning out all right.
It still probably does a good job.
I can certainly see where I'm supposed to be. And I'm doing a surprising amount of painting on tonight's show. Which is...
Well, once in a while we have to.
Yeah,
you have to. I don't paint on the show. I can't. I have to be over there to paint, and I can't really do the computer thing there.
That's okay. I'm painting for the both of us, buddy.
Absolutely.
I'm painting for the both of
it.
us. You know, I'm painting. It takes a village, and it takes a village to paint on Painting with Menoth, John. And you know, once upon a time, this show was started because I needed some stuff painted and I couldn't get a date. So,
Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle,
I
baby.
remember.
You know, I'm undecided as to whether or not I'm going to get any more of those colossals.
Well, I'm definitely getting Helios. Holy crap! And Zapdos is definitely in too.
Yeah,
Zapdos being the circle one for everyone else who doesn't know.
Well, of course he's Zapdos, man. He's a Pokemon.
I actually don't know Pokemon that well, but I know enough.
You know Zapdos though, and that's all that counts.
Well, yeah, you sell Pokemon cards for during the beginning when they first come out. You learn some Pokemons.
There you go. I'm pretty happy with the color of these cloaks. I think they're going to be quite attractive when they're done.
Yeah, it's a good color.
And so, for those of you who didn't see the announcement, the Guild Ball is going to be at Warmachine weekend. So they are coming and they are going to be doing demos, and I don't know if there's going to be any events, but I am going to be there, and I will have my engineers and my brewers, and they will be fully painted and ready to party. So there you go. John, do you have? Awesome. I think we probably ought to move on then. So we've kind of talked everything we're going to talk about on wet pallets. Let's move on to talk a little bit about Flippity Bloop.
All right. I'm gonna 1 second here. All right. So the first one I'm gonna go through here is from Tom Bell. He asks, as president of Warmachine, when will Gators get a new War Beast?
You know, I had a discussion with Matt Wilson about that the other day. I said, Matt, you know, you and I need to have a conference call. I said, I was very, very stern with him. I said, you know, this shit's got to stop. I said, you know, despite what JP Randazzo has to say, Minions is a real faction. We need to start treating them like one. And I ordered him to create a new Gator for the next book. So, Minions players, you will be getting a new Gator War Beast. It'll be a heavy in the next book. So, you heard it here first. I am the benevolent dictator, the most high president of Warmachine and Hordes, and I have decreed it. So shall it be. So shall it is.
There you go. I agree with Negajoule. Pigs actually need one way more than Gators. Way more, but
well, what makes you
Gators will take one too.
What makes you think that I didn't do the same for them?
Well, you know, I like to be surprised though. I don't want to know the future.
Well, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I mean, I don't want to spoil that. You know, I was one of the people who was very vocal about spoilers when they spoiled an entire book on us. And
that's not going to happen under your presidency.
That will not happen underneath my presidency. I promise you that, folks. You can take that shit right to the bank. And I promise underneath...
Sorry.
What's that?
Steven Seagal movie flashback. To
Exactly.
the blood bank.
To the bank. So...
All right. Oh, all right. Sorry.
Flippity bloop.
All right. So this is one I need a little clarification on. Carrie Snow asks, Cyrus or Legion for the SOO?
Southern Ontario Open.
Oh, very good.
So Cirrus or what was the other option?
Legion. Cirrus.
Cirrus.
Don't do no Legion.
Clearly Cirrus.
Why are you playing like that? I'm a firm believer if you play the faction that is quote unquote less good, you will get more skills more quickly.
That's right. Anybody can play Legion. Just ask JVM.
You don't need wins to get your skills. You need challenges. And challenges help. I mean, that's why you play good people, you know, you want to get challenges. You play bad matchups, even if it's, you know, someone drops a bad matchup on you, you want to play a bad matchup because you'll start learning.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, John. So I am all in. And, you know, you may want to play Lucan, but don't be so, you know, strike out. Don't be a little bit of a special snowflake. We are very into trying something new. We are the purveyors of the models and the lists like Fire Mountain that nobody's really playing. that people should be playing. And we're not. It's not that we don't want you to be competitive. Be competitive on your own terms. There you go. Flippity bloop.
All right. Cliff Hughes asks, with about 60 days until Warmachine weekend, how much do you have left to get fully painted?
I'm done. I am
Awesome.
done. I have to get
I'm the opposite of done.
I have this guy. I need to get this done for John Snodgrass.
I have literally 0 circle models painted.
Oh snap! Are we gonna have an intervention at during when you first get there, John?
I'm just gonna start working on them. I'm not really expecting to qualify during the last chance qualifier, and if I do, I've got plenty of friends there who can help me out. Because if I qualify, they won't. So hey, that's sort of how math works. But I'm gonna try and start working on them. It's sort of the reason I chose Circle. I don't have anything painted, so I can't just fall back upon lists that are fully painted. I could have to start painting stuff. So I'll start working on them.
That sounds terrific.
Come on,
man.
60 points. That's what, 2 points a day. That ain't no thing.
Ain't no thing, man. Especially if you run something that's reasonably beast heavy, you should be able to.
Yeah. Plus, when you get the war beasts, like okay, the Gorax is in both lists. I got a Stalker in both lists. Though apparently it's been very hot around here lately, and I need to get my Stalker's sword straight again.
Oh.
Yeah, they apparently Tuesday or something like that, Tuesday or Friday, when it was kind of hot enough to make them sort of bend a little bit. So
That's too bad.
I don't have a hairdryer for obvious reasons of not having much hair to dry.
Just to interrupt the flippity bloop love, I wanted to note that I did do that custom color that we made with the flesh and the bloodstone is what I used for Bob Ross's hair. So I just wanted that for Mr. Snodgrass. I wanted him to know that's a little bit of history going on right there with the hair. Is that he has that custom color? No one else will have that color.
There you go. All right, next one is from Scott Patterson. He says, which is better skill to master first? 2 brush blending or mixing the colors in the wet palette and using the various form shades?
Oh, I think the wet palette is probably... I think they're both wonderful skills, don't get me wrong, but I think that for a beginner painter, I think that you can make a lot of headway with a wet palette. Blending colors and blending shades can make a tremendous difference in your painting ability.
I'd like to say that you could win a painting competition without ever 2 brush blending things, but boy, that wet palette would help a lot. And getting lots of weird shades and colors with that is going to help way more for that kind of painting.
I want to put this out here for Captain Aaron, otherwise known as John Snodgrass. Do you want to go to on this guy? Because if you want to go to, I can do the full on Bob Ross beard if you want. So, and I will do it of the later style with a little bit of gray mixed in as well. So there you go. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Gray in the goatee adds character, I think.
I may be a little bit biased, but I'd have to agree with you.
Hard to tell, but I am also biased. The only gray I have. But hey. All right, and the last one is from Chaplain Arion or Captain Arion, John Snodgrass. Have you ever accidentally thinned with Kraken?
No, but I have gotten dangerously close to washing my brush in it.
I actually try not to have alcohol at my desk when I am actually painting.
Oh God, I can't paint without it.
That's sort of my way.
You know what? Your way is your way, and if there's ever been anything that highlights this show, it is that we are a podcast of diversity of styles.
Absolutely.
So, oh, John, I'm gonna have this done for you tomorrow. The way things are going on it. This is good. This is such a fun little model. I may have to do something. Try to do something special with the basing. I'm not sure. Because I kind of feel like there needs to be a happy tree on it.
Well, I feel actually bases are the one part that a lot of hobbyists don't realize can really make a difference. A solid base is good, but that next level just takes your model up more than anything else. I've seen basically painted models with amazing bases get much more notice than amazingly painted models with mediocre bases.
So I'm painting this brush that Brother Bob is holding as a Winsor Newton Series 7.
Of course.
So, the Citadel Abaddon experiment is about to happen. Let's see what kind of a mess I made. Okay, actually, it's not bad. It's pretty good consistency. It didn't just like the whole bottle didn't just like flush onto my palette. It's actually really good.
Have you ever had one of those where the top bit comes out and the whole thing's blurts out somewhere?
No, but someone on my Facebook had that happen to them.
At least two people then.
Bad time.
I've had it happen, and I had white paint everywhere. It was no bueno.
No, that's no damn good at all. So this
be careful. If it's not coming out, just get your pen, take the top off yourself, get some warm water, just work that shit out yourself. Don't try and force it. Good Lord.
So what I did was I took the contents of an entire bottle of Abaddon Black and put it into the dropper bottle, and then I added 4 milliliters of water to it and shook the shit out of it. And it seems to work pretty good. That seems to be a recipe that will be adequate for people. So an entire bottle of Abaddon Black and 5 milliliters of water, or just get some Vallejo, and then it just works right out of a bottle. So there you go.
Yeah. But you want to open it up and throw the steel ball bearing in, because honestly, it's the one downside some of the Vallejo paints have. They've got some really amazing colors, but with nothing there to mix it, it settles, and it's sometimes hard to get mixed again.
So you're asking yourself, where did I get the ball bearings? Amazon. You can get anything on Amazon.
Yeah, let's be honest, Amazon. Good Lord. Tell you, working out a budget for stuff, and I'm like, Amazon Prime's coming up. Nope, that's in the budget. I'm keeping that shit.
Oh God, yeah. This
is too good.
That turned out pretty good.
I still don't have Netflix, but I've got Amazon Prime because there's just too much in it for one. I mean, $100 a year seems good.
Yep. I'm very happy with how my Winsor Newton Series 7 brush turned out here on tonight's show.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And I haven't even put any washes on it yet. I haven't washed it or dry brushed it. It's gonna look boss when I get done with it.
Oh yeah, when you get some everything on it. Oh yeah, that looks gonna be amazing.
So, very excited to give this to you, John. This is gonna be amazing.
So it occurs to me we need to make sure you advertise. You know what's coming up soon, John?
What's that, buddy? Oh, Brushhead Gallery.
Brushhead Gallery.
Yep. We need to do that. And I need to figure out a good weekend for Shoshi. But
there you go.
Make sure that you all are getting your Brushhead Gallery submissions ready. Anything that you've painted is totally legit. Now, you'll notice here with the wet palette, I just put the top on it. Boom. Mm-hmm. It's going to be ready for tomorrow. I may lose those colors that I already have been painting. They may over dilute. But I'll be good to go with the palette. I'm going to still be able to use that same piece of parchment paper. I'm going to be able to do everything. It's going to be awesome. But getting back on topic, I will contact Shoshi this week and see if she's ready. John, when do you want to do it?
Whenever. I'm pretty free.
Okay.
Just let me know, because I might actually do a little thing. I was putting some models in my figure case, which is just outside a camera over here. And I might take pictures of all the models my players have made for our role-playing game to give people like this wide variety of, hey, look what you can do with just some bits of imagination.
That's absolutely terrific. What I will commit to doing is I will commit to getting my Guild Ball team done, and based by the time that the Brushhead Gallery happens, and I'll photograph them real nice with some of my terrain from Adam at Greenleaf Terrain. And I'm also working out a new sponsorship possibly for the show. We'll see what happens. And
cool.
There's a company that has approached me, and we'll see how that goes. They may get me some product, and if we get some of that product, we'll do a little review of it on the show. But everything's coming up Millhouse for the Painting with Menoth John experience. So get those pictures in. Remember, pwmenothjohn@gmail.com. That is the email to remember. And please, if you could, put in the subject Brushhead Gallery. Brushhead being one word, of course. Brushhead Gallery. And that will make it easy for me to search my Google Mail and find your submissions. And then what John just did. And if I'll get with Shoshi. She's going to be with us for all of the Brushhead galleries by popular demand. She is an amazing teacher and an amazing painter. So we're happy. We're wonderful. It's wonderful to have her as a part of the Painting with Menoth John family. So, you saw some shitty-ass movies this week, John. Oh, by the way, we need to, first off, this glass is empty. That's unfrickin' acceptable. What are you drinking now,
I got
pal?
a little bit left.
Okay.
Oh, same thing. Just still the hard root beer from Coney Island Brewing, which compares favorably to the Not Your Father's root beer. It's a little sweeter. You totally can't tell it's alcohol, thus it's very much more dangerous.
Woohoo! Yes, you can absolutely do multiple submissions for Brushhead Gallery. This really isn't a contest. This is just an opportunity for us to show off. Oh, God, yes, Sir Broadsword. 2 miles. I've had people submit a dozen, and that's fine.
Rave Bomb put his entire army up there.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
It looked legit.
It's all about sharing. This is a show for us to give, just to show what we're doing and to having fun. And it's just about show us even if your stuff is not what you consider to be the best. I promise you that there's someone who could learn something by looking at what you've already done. So
you might inspire somebody.
Yeah, and that's what we like to do. So the gallery is shared on the show. I do it as a we obviously, John, have got some new viewers. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's awesome.
And we share it right here on the screen. I do it as a PowerPoint presentation. That's why I ask for the pictures to be submitted to the email, because then what I do is I copy and I make a presentation for PowerPoint for it. And then we put it up on the screen, and it's a part of the show, and everybody gets to see it. And it's one of my favorite shows that we do, and we do them once a quarter. And this isn't about criticism. This is about celebration. And we get Shoshi on there, and what we can do is, if you've got any specific questions, Shoshi is a high-level professional painter. And she will offer you good suggestions if you want them, and but we don't criticize at all. We always find good things to talk about on any model that is submitted. So get it out there. This is the podcast of positivity, and we keep it real here on the Painting with Menoth John show. We started off with Lost Hemisphere Radio, was the podcast of positivity, and I brought it with me when Chris went his way and I went mine, and we keep it positive, and he's got a great show, and we've got a great show, and we're gonna look forward to that episode probably within the next week or two is what I would expect. So
yeah,
tell me about the movie, because I've got a direct to video selection that I want to recommend to all the Brushheads after you get done with yours.
Okay, well, I watched a movie that I had watched originally in the theater and seen a couple times on cable. I watched it in the theater for free with free passes, so I have more fond memories than maybe you would. It's a little thing called Stealth.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
So, Stealth has the unfortunate problem of being a very expensive movie that would have been great had it been cheap.
Fair enough.
It is literally only a failure because it was so expensive to make.
Did it not come out relatively close to the same time as Firefox?
No, God, no.
It was
Firefox was
maybe a decade later.
This came out in 2005.
Okay.
So it is sort of similar to Firefox, though more actiony. Firefox is really a spy thriller with some Top Gun at the end, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this is sort of Top Gunny. It's very Top Gunny. It's not a bad movie. I want to get that out there. It has 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. I feel that's entirely unfair. The critics are being overly critical. The fans are much closer. They gave it a 40%. I feel that's much closer to its actual, in my opinion, rating. The real problem is that the biggest actor right now, if you were to look at the movie, is Jamie Foxx. And I'm not saying he phones in the conversation, but okay, he phones in the shit. There are times you're just like, God, you just were not in your groove yet, dude. I feel the best actors in the movie are Jessica Biel, Joe Morton, who's one of those guys you're like, oh, I've seen him. He was in Terminator 2. He's been in a bunch of stuff. And then, gotta remember his name, Chris something. Sam Shepard, sorry, Sam Shepard, who plays the military guy in every movie. Let's be honest. A little bit of Richard Roxburgh, which is pretty good. It's a decent little movie if you like that kind of stuff. It's directed by Rob Cohen, who did the Fast and Furious and Triple X. And obviously, I like his movies, so it's fairly certain I'd like this. I feel like the real problem with this is that it's too short of the important parts.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? You know, they don't do enough. I feel like if they'd had cut out some of the extraneous interpersonnel bits between the people, because really you got the idea that they're a team and they were working together and they worked together well. They joking. You got that quickly, and then they had an extra scene where they introduced the love story, so to speak.
So many movies lose their damn mind as soon as they decide to put that love scene in. Not necessary, folks.
And it sort of fits. I mean, honestly, Jessica Biel.
She's beautiful.
You're in a squad with Jessica Biel. She's beautiful. You might fall for her, but you sort of got that feeling from different stuff. You didn't need necessarily to have all this extra stuff. They went a little heavy on it, let's say.
Yeah.
When they could have maybe made the movie a little bit longer, taken a little bit of the extra stuff, and added a little more scenes where you actually start to care for the AI fighter that joins them in there. You know, an extra mission or so where they do something. It's just kind of rushed at points, and that really is its worst point, unfortunately. And that's kind of rushed at points. The fighter scenes are great. I mean, not even like good. They're great. It to a point it builds a world where you're like they're building a near future world where they have names for the missiles. That's like, oh, I've got Mark 12s. No. They have names for the missiles, blue ferrets and stupid shit like that. You're like, okay, cool. That's what military would name a missile.
Who doesn't want to fire a blue ferret?
It adds a little bit to the movie. If they did a little more with that, they made it a little more near future, make everything look a little more futuristic. But it's just here or there. It's a low budget movie that they spend a lot of money on. And that's really the problem. You know, because it was a failure because it cost like $125 million or something like that, and only made like 70 or 80 in the theaters. 70 or 80 is a good haul, but not for that much money.
If you built the budget right in the first place.
Yeah, if you made like a $30 million or a $40 million movie, they'd be like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Even 50, you're like, yeah, it wasn't great, but it was fine. The home video sales, well, it's okay. But since it was 130, that's tough. And honestly, it was some of the scenes they did were so good, the mock-ups of the fighters, that people got pictures of them and thought they were actually testing a new fighter off of an aircraft carrier.
Wow.
It's not like they thought like, oh, look at the new American fighter. No, it's a fucking fighter from this movie. So that's sort of downside. The other thing is it sort of goes off with the standard, AI. It's sort of like Top Gun meets 2001, if you will. The AI, hits like lightning, goes a little crazy. It goes on that story, and then it sort of sidesteps to another story. But the problem is both stories are pretty stock standard. They don't really go any crazy. They don't establish either one enough. So it's a mixed bag. I got it on Blu-ray for $1.50. Even with shipping, it comes out under $5. Well worth my money. I'm gonna give it 2 shots of Kraken, but again, I didn't pay a lot for it. If you're paying more, might be a little less. Might be more shots of Kraken to realize, oh god, I paid $10 for this movie. It's one of those ones where if you catch it on cable, just watch it. Get yourself a brew or whatever you want. Watch it. It's pretty fun. The fighter scenes are really worth it, in my opinion. They do some cool stuff with fighters, interesting ideas. The lead actor, Josh Lucas or something like that, good enough. And honestly, Jessica Biel, who doesn't like Jessica Biel?
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx, not so much.
Well, fantastic. Great review, John. I've got a new 4+ shot of Kraken to share with you. I'm not real sure. If I had a VHS player, I would go out and buy this. I would buy this. But I'm gonna credit. John, are you familiar with the web show Good Mythical Morning?
I am.
Okay. recently Rhett and Link did an episode where they talked about 6 of the creepiest kids shows on television.
Okay.
And there was a show called EI Yoga. And we talked about it in the pre-ramble a little bit. And for those of you who would like the pre-ramble of the Painting with Menoth John experience, you have to get down here to www.patreon.com/menothjohn and pledge the kind that jingles or the kind that folds. You know which kind we prefer. And we talked a little bit about it. And EI Yoga. I'm doing yoga these days. Belinda Librarian and I are going out to yoga on Sundays because I don't want to be a decrepit old man. I want to get my flexibility up. I want to feel better about things. EI Yoga was hosted by this guy that called himself Yogi Okie Dokie. And he decided to do a kids show for yoga, direct to video. And in it, he has a Rastafarian rooster this guy had to be 6 foot at least, in a rooster suit with a Jamaican accent and a cow that all you see is from the neck up because they couldn't afford the full cow suit.
Oh, Jesus.
And then there's like a half a dozen kids or so with Yogi Okie Dokie, and they're doing yoga poses and stuff like that. And yes, Roostafarian. That's very nice. I see that you're looking for it right now. There's no full episode on YouTube, but there are some of them. My favorite would be Yogi Okie Dokie's Rape Farm. It is the creepiest child's program I've ever seen, and I think you need a solid 4 shots of Kraken to get through this one. And in it, there's one segment where Yogi Okie Dokie puts his head between his legs and walks around, and this guy's fucking flexible. Let me tell you what. And he scratches the ground like he's a chicken scratching for feed. And then there's another part where they turn fans on the kids and on him, and he goes, you know, when I get a big breeze coming through my hair like this, it makes me remember about to breathe. And they show these kids with the wind blowing their hair, and then they cut to the African-American kid. And he's doing this. I shit you not. This is how he looked. Now, you'll see that, John, in about 5 or 10 seconds. And I'm just going to sit here and wait for you to actually be able to see what I just did. And it is a piece of work. So
oh my God.
I would urge each and every one of you to go out there to probably Good Mythical Morning and look for, it's recent, the Creepy Kids program, and then look up EI Yoga on YouTube's and get yourself 4 shots of Kraken. Because there you go. Yeah, those kids are in counseling now. And there's one part where the African-American boy is doing some kind of pose, and Yogi Okie Dokie walks up and grabs underneath his armpit and says, oh, there's a nice tomato. I'm going to have that for lunch. I don't have any fucking idea what he meant by that. It's crazy talk.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. That's my answer.
Thank you, Rick James. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's the answer sometimes.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. So this guy still exists. I went on the internet and found he still does yoga retreats in Sedona. Who would have guessed? But if you want to go out in the desert with this ass clown, I don't recommend it. You won't be pooping right for a week. So
I'm gonna say, based off what I've seen, just in a brief Google search, it's not worth $28 for a VHS for this. So God, don't buy it on Amazon.
Oh my God, I would give anything to have this scanned in and be on YouTube. Jesus. because everything is like little bits and bobs. You don't get the whole thing. Everything's out of context. And if it was in context, I'm pretty sure I'd be just as scared.
That's worrisome that it's out of context. You feel like in context you'd be just as scared.
Just as scared. So.
Oh my God.
John, that's a show.
It is a show.
I'm gonna cue up the old music here because, going out on that 2-hour loop of. I'm not even gonna repeat what John Snodgrass just put in the chat room. Every 90 minutes on a Sunday is our time together, ladies and gentlemen. It's a time for reflection. It's a time to breathe. And as Yogi Okidoki would put it, bah! So on behalf of John Spencer, the co-host with the host, and your intrepid host, I'm Menoth John. See you next Sunday. Not sure if it's going to be a Brushhead Gallery or what the hell it's going to be. Had talked to Will Pagani. No, next weekend will be the WTC. So we'll try to do Brushhead Gallery this coming Sunday, and we'll try to do Will Pagani with the WTC wrap-up the week after that. So, on behalf of us, that's a show. Have a great week, folks. Stay sweet. I'm Menoth John. Good night.